Yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo. Yeah. Early mornings before the sunlight, house still sleeping. Screens already lit, one desk, one plan. Every click gotta mean something. Born in the garage, one outlet, one extension. Pressure taught discipline, not talking, just intention. No suit fed my confidence, no hand-me-down plays. Bills on the counter taught me risk has a face. They said trust the system, I trusted the work. Every loss paid tuition, every win left a scar. I heard a cricket in the quiet, steady chirp in the dark. Like patience beats panic when you're playing it smart. If I eat, that's on me. If I fall, same name. From the people for the people, no shame in the gang. This ain't Wall Street. This RODY. Hey. Bang for the buck, move slow, move low. Stack that premium, protect my six. Upside open, but I hedge that risk. This ain't luck, I'm ready. Garage born mine with the market steady. I don't chase green candles, I monetize waiting. They the working daily while they guessing and praying. Risk defined entry, exit already mapped. Know what I lose before the order gets tapped. Premium stacking, structure over sensation. Volatility, paying rent with no conversation. I don't need direction, I trade behavior. Let emotion burn out, let the numbers stay paper. Fast money, flashy, but it fades when it's pressed. I want repeatable wins with my downside dress. Not a lottery ticket, this a blueprint I trust. Level the field, get more bang for the buck. This ain't Wall Street, this RODY. Bang for the buck, move slow, move low key. Stack that premium, protect my six. Upside open, but I hedge that risk. This ain't luck, I'm ready. Garage born mine with the market steady. Raj, cricket, patience built in the minutes. Risk known, I don't trade what I don't own. Not for everyone, let's keep it exact. Pressure make diamonds, not internet caps. No handouts, no hero, no suit to impress. Just structure, discipline, time doing reps. RODY the method, remember the name. From the people, for the people, but not everyone plays. Born in a garage, born in a garage, yeah, born in the garage, inspired by cricket. Built for the people, but not everyone gets it. Born in a garage.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, May 30th. And today is the RODY update, where we talk all things options, anything from the wheel to the poor man's covered call, the deep in the money poor man's covered call, the zebra, the this, the that, and the other thing. Of course, yes, we have better names. We have fancier names, as you'll see as we go along. But before we even get into it, Bitcoin update, because that's what we do. Bitcoin ain't doing nothing. It's at 73,000. So yeah, let's just move on from that. We'll be talking a lot about IWM. So I had that up on stock analysis. We'll see how that's going. And let's just get right to it. All right, let's get the party started. Here we go. Before I guess we move on, let's see who was first here this morning. We have Dividend Degenerates is the winner. He gets the grand old prize of watching first, or showing up first, even though I was late. But anyway, thank you for being here. Kevin, good morning. Good morning. Never Broken, good morning. Good morning, Alan. What's going on? Wolf, good morning. Parabolic, good morning. We are simulcasting on Retire on Dividends YouTube channel, Retire on Options YouTube channel, which is newer, obviously, and then my X account. All right, just so you guys know. So if you're alone in one of the channels, that's why. Most people are probably in the Retire on Dividends channel. Okay, anyone else here? I think I'm all caught up. All right, so all right, let me hide the comments. There we go. I'm just going to go in order of how I usually have it. As mentioned on X, I have kind of started a new trade that I found. Well, someone from Discord shared a video from Tom King. It's more of like a deep in the money play, deep in the money covered call off of a leap. And I thought it was interesting because, it's basically focusing on the delta and the movement within the delta. and then only calculating extrinsic income as your income. So it's more, I'll say for me, a learning tool because I have still so much to grasp, when it comes to options, and I want to learn, all the details behind it. So I think this trade is going to help me do that. But again, we'll get into it when we get into it. So Open had actually a good week. Believe it or not, I know Open has been sucking so bad, and I haven't been able to do anything. But look at this, 5-day, it's up 11.26%. It was better, like it was up here, man, boom. And then yesterday, kind of a red day, but I don't know. I can't complain. It's up 11%. My synthetic, I did almost average down to a 6. I did not, but hey, whatever. It doesn't matter. So my cost base is around 7. Yesterday on 529, I decided to sell a call. Again, for this one, I'm doing it at the cost basis, $7. I had to go 34 days out though to get any sort of respectable premium. If you called $12 respectable premium, and that's all I collected on the week. But it's better than nothing. I've been sitting on my ass on Open for a while because they haven't really done anything. I also had 2 covered calls expiring yesterday, 529, $7, way out of the money. So these 2 expired worthless. So if I go down here and I see how much I made on Open this week, $12, versus how much I had to shell out, how much is at risk essentially, $3,830. That's a 16% annualized. So I'm still not really making the money I need to on this position. However, there was a sign of hope. So, again, I'm just keeping it open for now and see how it goes. Holding wise, yeah, I mean, if I closed everything out today, I would lose money, an additional $595. But if things do go south, I have an additional risk of $2,000 total. All right. So also something to keep in mind. So always know, how much you're risking at total, to see, if worst case scenario, really, how much are you going to lose? I have to blow my nose. Give me 1 second here. I'm actually going to mute because I'm a gentleman now, right? I'm an old man. Hold on. All right, I'm back. All right. Why did this? I hate how this. I still don't know how to use a MacBook, by the way. You see how that comes on the bottom? That annoys the crap out of me. All right, let's move on to SoFi. Guess what? SoFi also had a good week. I assume it's because of the new Fed chair. There's maybe some hope there. If I look at the 5-day for SoFi, they're up 16%. So again, SoFi was kind of a dead play for me. I was just sitting on it. You can see I have many synthetics here. My cost basis, real quick, if I check, it is at $20.20. So I'm trying to sell calls above that. It's not easy. And I have 3 pending calls that expire scattered, some in June, some in August. But this is really a long-term play, because I wanted to, I'm trying the RODY on a long-term play on an individual underlying that I feel will do good long-term, but based on what, I don't know. Again, it's a shot. It's a random shot in the dark, right? Hopefully SoFi goes up in the long term. Hopefully SoFi can stay pretty volatile in the long term. Hopefully SoFi does well, but yet to be seen. But regardless of that, doesn't matter. We sold a call yesterday. 5/29 was the execution date, Friday. Expiration date, I had to go out to June 18th, 20 days to get, how much did I get? $30. So I made $30 in premium, better than, again, nothing. I've been getting nothing on SoFi because they have tanked. But if I look at $30 compared to how much I'm risking here, which is 5,634, that is a 27% annualized, which, I mean, that's okay. But again, I need SoFi to move a little more. I'm happy with this week, but man, what the heck is going on? But if interest rates ever actually get cut, this thing is definitely heading in the right direction. All right. So, we need something, right? Yeah, Alan agrees. SoFi is Yeah, bad. I mean, look at my first synthetic. I started this position. SoFi was at $26. Today, it's still at $18, right? It's like you can't win. I started at 26. And then this again, I knew, and I did this for a reason. I started with one contract. I'm like, just in case it drops, I'm just going to do one contract at a time. And then it dropped, and then it dropped again, and then it continued to drop all the way down to like $15. And so I added a new position every time. And here I am sitting here with how many? 5 contracts. But luckily my average is 20. It's okay. It's decent. But yeah, should I add one more, make it under 20? I should have maybe, but I didn't know how far down it was going. That's the issue. But again, this position, I'm not too concerned at the moment, because this expires June of not even next year. Well, not even this year, not next year, but the year after. So we got a long time to go on this one. So will I keep it open that long? Maybe. Again, this is just open to be an income source to me, to help pay my bills. That's the idea behind it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, my SoFi position, in summary, what did it bring in? $30. Yeah. Thank you. Let's move along, right? But no, I'm not worried. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. All right, let's move on to my IBIT. So I wanted to do another zebra type thing where you buy 2 calls and you sell 1 call, all the same expiration date. The idea behind this is, you save money and get the same, position you would with 100 shares, movement with 100 shares. So you buy 2 calls with a 0.75 delta, you sell 1 call with a 0.5 delta, and you add all that together. Again, 0.75 times 2, 1.5 minus 0.5, 1 delta. So this is going to move 1 for 1 with IBIT. So if IBIT goes up $1, we're going up $1. IBIT goes down $1, we're going down $1. All right. So that's this position. And that just sits there, right? That just sits there. It don't move. It sits on its ass. And it's going to sit on its ass until December 15th, 2028, which again is not this year. It's not next year. It's the year after. So this is a long-term plan here. First setup, I should say. So I had a $46 call that expired on Friday, yesterday. They closed at 41. However, I did do a rolling order before the close. I rolled it down to $44 because I'm trying to, on this one, it's more of a growth in income play versus just an income play. This was a 0.18 delta. I'm trying to do 0.2 or the next below. 0.18 was the next below. So I chose a 44 strike, 5% out of the money. Again, one thought I had was, should I wait? Should I wait to see how the weekend goes? Because you know how sometimes Bitcoin will pop on the weekend. I can sell a call on Monday. However, I'll lose any time value associated over the weekend. So I have to stop thinking that I could time the market. So I stopped myself. I said, no, actually I slapped myself. I said, no sue for you. So no, basically I'm in the trade. I'm always in the trade. I'm not trying to time the market. I'm keeping it simple. 0.2 delta, week in, week out. All right. So obviously the 0.18 delta, what did it pay me? $19. So a little less than last week. But again, the strike is a little less than the prior week because we went down. Because IBIT's going down, Bitcoin went down. So if we look, $19 on a 2,850 risk, and when I say 2,850 risk, that was the expense of the zebra. Where is it? Here you go, 2,850. So the 2 leaps and the sell call, they net to 2,850. So that is the total at risk. So if I take the $19 and divide it into 2,850, that's a 0.67% ROI. But that's only for a week, right? So if you multiply that times 52, that's how I get the 34% annualized. Sucker. All right, I know that's not even that great, but hey, we're moving up. We're moving in the right direction here. All right, anyway, what's the IBIT position worth? I mean, who really gives a crap at this point? But you know, it's worth a little less than when I opened it, but because IBIT went down, right? IBIT went down. So it has, this says 70. This should say where is this? There you go. Buy call 75 delta. Sell call 50 delta. Yeah. No, by 2 calls. Let me fix that. There you go. There you go. If anyone wants to do the zebra, that's what it is. All right. So that's the zebra. I call it the Zicket. The Zicket, it turns into the Zicket once you sell calls on the other leap, right? Because I'm pretty sure the zebra just ends on the two leaps and the covered call. It doesn't sell weekly covered calls. But what the hell do I know? All right. Moving on, we have NVDL. How we doing? Well, NVDL, again, this was something I just felt like doing just because NVIDIA went down last week. And I did, well, I opened this one on May 21st. It was, you know, like a not too far out, 12/18, end of year. 99 strike, 0.7 delta. So it's going to track the underlying, you know, 70%. Whatever the underlying goes up, will go up 70%. Whatever the underlying goes down, will go down 70%. So that's the idea behind that. That's the leap. All right. Now I'm going to sell covered calls on this one. Again, this is, you know, similar to the kind of the IBIT, except it's just one leap. Let me hide this. We had a covered call already, right? It was open. It expired. It was a 114. It expired yesterday. We closed at 102. So we went down in price. I originally opened it. It was at 106. We went down to 102. It is what it is. So it was very cheap to close out. However, I did a rolling order and I rolled the strike price from 114 to 115. Actually, 108. When did I roll this? Did NVIDIA drop? What the hell? NVDL. Let's see. Oh, wow. What the heck happened yesterday? What happened, guys? Okay. I got lucky then because I opened it when it was at 108 and it dropped to 102. Damn. I mean, I did this in the afternoon too. Wow. Yeah, but does it show the time? Wow. 3:47. And then boom, 3:59. Oh my God. What? So in the last, that's not good. What happened? I don't know. I mean, great, good for me on the timing, but that's weird. Anyone know what happened? All right, whatever. It was 108, and with 108, my this one I do like a point. I could do a 0.3 delta. I'm playing it a little more aggressive. I decided to do 0.3. I could do 0.2. It doesn't really matter. This one, yes, it's kind of growth in income, but I do at the same time I do need income, so I gotta abuse one of these and be a little riskier. Now this one, it was 6.48% out of the money. Again, 0.3 delta. How much did it pay me? Well, it paid me 190. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I did open a covered call. I did 2 this week. I'm sorry. I opened one on Tuesday, and I made $90 for a 3 DTE essentially, and then again it expired on the Friday yesterday, and then I did another one yesterday, and I made more money. So between the 2, that counts to be in. I count it in this week. I made $280, which to me, yes, fantastico. So I like that. All right. So if I look at the 280 I made as compared to the total I'm risking on this position, again, how do I get the risk? I calculate how much I paid on the poor man's covered call, which is $3,300. All right. So 280 against 330. I mean, sorry, 3,300. 8.48% return in 1 week, 441% annualized. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous. And it's not always going to look like that, but hey, let's enjoy it while it's here. Chico. So I hope this position continues to, I don't even care. I hope it trades flat at this point. I don't even need it to go up. You know what I mean? If it does, great, but whatever. Holding wise, yeah, my position, my leap position is actually down in value because yes, NVIDIA has gone down in value. Duh. So, but it is what it is. I don't care. All right. I haven't checked the comments in a while. It either means you guys went back to sleep or you're actually so focused on listening that you need to you can't be worried about typing. Good morning, Vlad. Good to see you. What's up? What's up? Lynn Adams, good morning. Rebalancing in hedge funds. Hedge funds. All right. Anyway, let's keep going. All right. So here we are. I need a sip of coffee before I talk about juicy. Speaking of juicy, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, salt and pepper up heavy in the limousine. All right. Anyway, so what is juicy? So if you watch, what the heck? Oh my God, I forgot his name already. Tom, whatever. Now I forget his name, but whatever. There's something called a deep poor man's cover call. They call it a DPMCC. So the idea behind it is you buy a leap and you sell in the money calls. All right. But you buy a leap that has a respectable delta, a pretty high delta that you could work with. Right. Tom King, I think. Yeah. But let me just try to explain this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but hopefully I can do it some justice. All right. So my starting position, of course, as I always say, I'm trying to keep the focus on the indexes because I really don't want to be involved in individual underlyings. I don't. Why did I do NVDL? Because I can't help myself. I'm going to occasionally like jump into something just to jump into something and try it out. Right. It was just a leverage play on a dip and I did it. But regardless, I'm back to the focus on the index. So here's an index, IWM. What is IWM? Well, you guys know what IWM is, but let's pull it up. It's the Russell 2000, right? It's an exchange traded fund that is based on the Russell 2000 index. It's a market cap weighted index of all U.S. small cap stocks. IWM was launched in May 22nd, 2000, and is issued by, oh, you guessed it, BlackRock. All right. So, and they do well, right? They move overall with the market. Sometimes they don't move with the S&P necessarily or the NASDAQ. Sometimes they do their own thing, but overall, I trust it as an index. Ideally, if I had the money, who would I trade? I would choose probably the Qs. I'm not going to lie. But for now, this is a newer strategy. If I did it on the Qs, I'd be spending way more money. So I'm going to try it on IWM. I'm going to see how this goes, and then we'll talk about it. All right, but whatever. What did I do? I bought a call yesterday, 5/29, expiration date June 18, 2027. I wanted to do 1 year out, right? So, we did about what 385 days. Let's see. What the hell is this formula doing? Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm drawing blanks here, but so a little over a year. At the time, the price of this stock was $289. The strike price I chose, all right, now this is important, was 230. All right, 230 is considered kind of deep in the money, right? It's in the money because it's under the strike price. Now, when it goes in the money, right, the delta will go higher. The further you go down in strike price, right, the higher the delta. And I do have figure swim up. So if I do look at, what are we looking at? 27. What was the, I'm going to move this up now because this stupid screen. All right. So again, we had a 230. So if we go back here, we got to pull up all strike prices. All right. So the 230, if you see it here and you go to the delta should 230 on the June. What? Yeah, I don't want to. I'm on the wrong freaking thing. Hold on. I got to scroll down. Here we go. The 230. Yeah, it's still around what I got it at 0.86, but whatever. See, but the further you go down in strike price, 230, 225, right? That up is going down in strike price. You see the delta goes up, right? So, you know, if I get a 160 call, 160 leap, my delta is 0.98. That's essentially moving 1 for 1 with the underlying. All right. Now, but that's awesome. I wish I had a 0.98 delta. However, look at the last price. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. $134 per share. No, thank you. So I am not spending that type of money. So what am I doing? Yeah, I'm going back down. I belong back down here with the suckers. And I'm going to go in the 0.8 range, 0.8 to 0.9 range. So that's where I landed. Again, you can see here, this shows my position. That's a good thing about Thinkorswim. It'll always tell you under the options chain if you have a position there. And I do. And my position is sitting here. It's 0.86 delta. Okay. That's what I chose. Well, it was 0.85 when I opened it. And I chose a 230. All right. So let's go back to the sheet. There's my 0.85 delta. Great. All right. What was the expense? $72.97. Again, how much is it worth now? Let's see. 230. It's a little more. It's 73.55. So yeah, what a deal I got. What a deal I got, right? All right, so 72.97 per share for one contract is $7,297. So yeah, still pretty expensive. You know, that is expensive. So that's why I had to think about, like, and this is why people they don't want to trade the indexes, because you can really, like, you need a lot of capital, you know, even with the poor man. This is called a poor man's covered call. Even with the poor man's covered call, you're spending $7,297, right? But look, man, look at the current price, bro. $290. If you bought 100 shares, you know how much that is? $29,000. So yeah, forget it, man. Forget it. So we always doing poor man covered calls. You know, it's a better way to leverage your money anyway. So for the most part, yes, I have, you know, I bought a call, I bought a leap to have the ability, you know, essentially replace as if I owned 100 shares. All right. And that cost me about $7,300. All right. Now, this is the interesting part. All right. So let me take another sip of coffee before I get into this. And I want you guys to give me opinions or questions as we go. Yes, you meant hedge. All right. So Lynn said she's rebalancing in hedge funds. Okay. I need to get some coffee. Yeah, go get some coffee for this one. Double D's on the sec. I'm actually on my first, but I'm a little behind lately. It's just it was a long night, you know. I had to prep this spreadsheet when I got home from baseball, which was pretty late. Oh, there's C4 Poppy. What's going on? Good to hear you yesterday. Sorry I didn't have enough time to, you know, talk more, but hopefully this helps, this session here. All right, so let's do this. All right, so before we go any further, I did want to check. I Googled it, you know, AI. Hello, AI, help me. See this here? The iShares Russell 2000 ETF, IWM, moves by an average of about $5 to $6 per week, which translate to a weekly move of about 1.8% and 2.2%. So that's a number that we want to remember, all right, before we get, you know, we go up above. All right, now, so I have the leap. Great, wonderful, yippee-ki-yay. Now what? Now Now we're going to make some income. So how are we going to make income? Well, we're going to sell calls. Duh, obviously. But we're going to sell calls in the money. All right. Now, why are we selling calls in the money? Well, because several reasons. Well, for one, because we can. And two, we're doing like, we want minimal, we want to not give a crap what the underlying does. And to keep it short and sweet, we want to not give a damn, like whatever IWM does, I don't give a damn. I'm still making premium. That's kind of my thought process here. So go up, down, all around. We don't give a crap. You know why? Because we're still making options premium. All right, so here I have two sections here. I have the as at leap details, because every week before I sell my call, I'm going to update these numbers. But right now, these are the numbers as of the opening position of my leap. So these are the same we just saw on the other screen. The one thing I did not break down was the intrinsic and extrinsic. So how do we calculate intrinsic and extrinsic, and what does it mean? Well, again, to keep it very, very simple, the intrinsic is the difference between the strike price and the as at value of the underlying, right? So IWM, the value of it at the time I opened the position, this is at the time I opened it, was 289. The strike price I chose, again, since it's in the money, it's going to have intrinsic value. Since it's in the money, the intrinsic value was the price minus the strike, which was 59.88. Now, what is the extrinsic value? It's basically the difference between the total premium I paid minus the intrinsic value. This is essentially the time value, the theta, right? Essentially the risk. This is the risk. This is how much I'm paying for the risk, right? So that's why it cost me $72.97, because I had to pay $59.88 in the intrinsic, and then I had to pay $13.09 in extrinsic. All right. Are we all good so far? Everyone awake? It makes sense? Good. All right. Let's move on. We're going to call details. All right. So again, every week, this is the important part here. This is the part where we need to do it right or give up. All right. Move on. If we can't do it right, then get the heck out of here. All right. Anyway, so I had to choose a strike price of my covered call. All right. Now, the number one key here, at least, again, I'm new to this trade, by the way, so don't think I know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to do my best to explain it the way I think it should work. Because, again, I listened to Tom King YouTube videos. He's the one I heard it from. Luckily, someone shared it, either SB or someone in the Discord. And I had 6 hours of commute time this week, and I spent probably 4 of them listening to the deep in the money covered call videos to get it drilled in my head, and then eventually build out a spreadsheet and then try to, go from there. So again, work in progress. Just keep that in mind. Okay. So I ended up with a 285 strike. 285 strike is in the money, right? You can see here it's 1.68% in the money. Is this the as at in the money? No. It's at the time in the money. Yeah, we have the as at over there. Okay, good. All right. So how did I choose the 285? Okay, so remember the 0.85 delta on the leap. That's important, right? Because the leap will move 85 cents per dollar of whatever the underlying does. It'll move 85 cents, per dollar. Now, I don't want a delta higher than that on the call. I want a delta that's around, I'm thinking 10, right? Around 10, not when I say 10, I mean like 0.1. So that's why, I'm going to go in the money. Actually, yeah, let me pull up Thinkorswim. This may help a little. So we'll go to that date. Let me pull up less strikes too. I think I hate when I see a million strikes. It bugs the hell out of me. All right, so what strike did I choose? 285. So let's see if that comes on the screen. Yeah. So 285. Here's the deltas. Well, it went a little down, but here's the deltas, right? So you could see the deltas As you go further down the strike price, the deltas get higher. As you go further up in strike price, the deltas go lower. Now, if I choose a delta that is lower than my 0.85, then ideally, if my call gets blown through, it doesn't matter because I will, capture some upside. I will capture. In fact, here, look, I have a net delta calculator here. If I do the 0.85 minus the delta I chose, which by the way was 0.72, my net delta was 0.12. In the video I heard him talk about, he used about a 0.09, which means it would move up 9 cents per dollar. But this, I'm going to move up or down 12 cents per dollar that the underlying moves with both positions, right? So again, this protects me on the upside, right? Essentially, if we go up, again, if my covered call gets blown through, it's already in the money, right? But ideally, if it goes up, I'm going to go up 12 cents per dollar. It goes up. So my intrinsic on the leap will make me money as we go up. However, I will lose money on the call, but yes, they will essentially offset and I will have some more appreciation on the leap versus the call. All right. I don't know if I explained that right, but I'll try to keep going here and do my best. All right. Good morning, SB, by the way. I see you there. So now let's calculate the intrinsic and extrinsic value. Again, what is the intrinsic? It's the difference between the strike price and the as-at value of the underlying. The underlying was at 289. Since we're in the money at 285, the intrinsic is 289 minus the 285 is essentially $4.88. Extrinsic is the difference between the cost, the total cost of the covered call minus the intrinsic value, and that's $1.57 per share. All right. Now, this intrinsic, and again, it took me quite some time to like drill this inside of my head. This intrinsic, I am not counting anymore. This is not going towards my income bucket. All right. This is just there. And it's going to offset with the leap, essentially. That's the idea behind it. It's an intrinsic battle, right? I'm trying to balance the deltas of the leap and the covered call. And between those two intrinsics, in the end, it will balance out. Ideally, the extrinsic, this is for my time. This is for my risk. This is for, this is for me, for putting my money to work. I get $1.57 per share. Or $1.57 times 100, I get $157. So that right there, that's my income. That's my income. That's my income. This is not my income, $6.45. Although, yes, that is the cost of the total trade. That is how much I got in my account, right? $645. Yeah, I got that. However, $488, that ain't mine. That ain't mine, bro. That ain't yours. That ain't none of ours. That's intrinsic freaking value. All right, that's in the money, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The extrinsic matters. This is what I'm getting because you know what's going to happen. You know what will happen. You know what I know will happen. The extrinsic value will go down. It will go down to eventually nothing. And I will earn again. And to the point of what we're calling this trade juicy, we will squeeze the crap out of that extrinsic, the juice, as another YouTuber, again, I can't figure it, bald head guy, he calls it the juice, right? We squeeze the juice, hence the picture of the steak, the blood leaking out of the $1.57, and eventually we collect essentially 90% or so profit of that, hopefully most of it, right? And that's why I do have now, I am breaking this trade down into the opening numbers and then the closing numbers, because I'm going to show you both. We just have the open because we just started this position, but next week we will close it at some point and I'll show you those ending numbers to show you what it looks like. Because yes, There will be a little cost to close this position on the extrinsic side. You know, at least a penny. There's at least going to be a penny. So this $1.57, yeah, it's mostly mine, probably mostly mine, but we're going to have to pay a little. But you'll see, like, I don't want to go too far ahead, but that's kind of, you know, the idea. So now, if we focus on the extrinsic, all right, what was my ROI, you know, on that? Where the hell is this formula leading to? A, B, what the heck did you see? Oh, I'm taking, okay. Yeah, so if I take the 157 and I divide it by, where is it going? It's going here. It's Q22. Yeah, so divide by the total value, the total expense. Essentially, that's a 2.15%, which would yield me, if I made this every week, 111%. All right. So again, to recap, when I sold the call, I made $6.45 per share. I took out the intrinsic value and I calculated the 157 as my income only. The intrinsic is not there because in the end, yes, this is going to move, right? If the value of the underlying, right, you know, goes down, well, that now let's explain the plus of doing in the money, because we're going in the money. So if this sucker here decides to go down, we are protected up until a point, right? We are protected to the downside. Now, up until where, right? Up until where? So there is a calculation, like how much can it drop before we start actually losing money on the trade. And I think I did this right. I hope I did this right. But I calculate that drop to be about 2.62% or 282. And that's the loser price. Sir. So 282.29 is when we would start essentially, I think, losing money on this trade. Right now, what did we close at? Where is it? There we go, 290. So it would have to go down to 282 before we start losing money. How did we calculate that? Essentially, what did we take? We take the total, I think the value of the call divided by the delta of the leap at the time. Yeah, don't worry about it for now, but I'm pretty sure I did it right. But yeah, this is going to be key going forward to keep an eye on. So you know, if it goes down to 282, even though our covered call's at 285, you know, it's okay if it drops to 285, right? Of course, we'll do fine. You know, we'll do just fine. The downside is, though, the leap value, right? The leap value will go down too. You know, it can go down to 0.8, and that makes it a little harder because then our covered call, our delta may not be 0.72. We may choose a 0.7, something like that. But if the underlying goes up in value, our delta could go up in value on the delta. You know, it could go up to 0.9. That's why I have the as-at number of the leap. Again, work in progress. I may have said a few things wrong, but as I go through this trade, I'm gonna learn a little more, and I may adjust my spreadsheet accordingly. But the bottom line is, you know, we're doing in the money covered calls on a leap. All right, and we want to get it to a point where it's almost delta neutral, where it don't even freaking matter what the underlying does. It almost doesn't matter, right? But at the same time, like, I don't want to go too far in the money, right? Because you'll see here, and I want to show you guys this, right? The further in the money, see this, 290 down to 260. Look at the extrinsic, right? Which one? Oh, this is 27. All right, we want to see the weekly. Here's the June 5th expiration. All right, so what did we choose? 285. Yeah, so there's the extrinsic there, right? Let me click all. I don't know why it goes from 14 to all. It's so annoying. But here's the 285, right? So the extrinsic is at its highest value, by the way, when it's at the money. As you go further away, you know, in the money or out of the money, it doesn't matter. The extrinsic will go down, just FYI. So yes, the more I go in the money, the higher intrinsic I get, but the lower extrinsic I'll get. So again, the 285 was what determined that as a good strike. Well, you have to look at, all right, how far in the money do you want to go? What was the delta? The delta is key. The delta really controls the trade. But you can see, you know, the in the money, it was 1.68% in the money. Again, ideally, the IWM Russell should move 1.8 to 2.2% in either direction. So we want to make sure we're covered, right? We get blown through, that's fine. All right, we're going to move 0.12, you know, 12 cents per dollar. So we will capture some capital appreciation. Now, here's the hard part to swallow. If we do get blown through, if the underlying does continue to go up, this intrinsic value of the call is going to go up, and I'm going to have to pay a pretty penny to close it. So say I have to pay $6 to close it, that's a realized loss. All right. So I'll be taking a realized loss on the intrinsic side of the call. However, on the leap side, I'll be gaining that, but that's going to be an unrealized gain. All right. And that's going to be the tough pill for me to swallow because I'm not used to that part of it. And it, you know, it's going to, you know, it took me, obviously until now to really even understand and accept this strategy. And I don't know, this is probably the most excited I've been over a new strategy, only because this is really just a pure income play. You know, I really just, this account that I'm using it, I don't really care about capital appreciation. I really don't. You know, upside, great. I'll take a little upside, but it's really about making enough income to pay the bills. This is the survival account. This pays the freaking mortgage. This pays the electric bill. This pays this bill. This pays that bill. So I want income. I get the income now from the extrinsic value. All right. So we'll see how this trade plays out. I'm going to track it all week. In fact, I'm doing this for you guys. You guys love this spreadsheet. Let me get to the comments, though. I've been talking my ass off. I probably need a sip of coffee. Let's see what's going on. Everyone's just saying a bunch of good mornings. SB's here, as we saw. Any opinions on open? Yeah, I don't know, man. It was just a gamble for me. I'm still in it. I hope they moon, but I have no idea. If interest rates cut, like I said, they should be fine. But who knows, man? That's a lot of competition, too. Hope you did have a covered call on Hood. Yeah, I've been out of Hood. All right. All right. So let's move on. It looks like there's no questions, just a bunch of comments. So now, this is the breakdown of the synthetic and the covered call and the extrinsic premium at the top. It's all about this extrinsic premium. So at the time, again, we'll say midday, maybe at lunchtime, I opened this position. This was the intrinsic of the synthetic, the intrinsic of the covered call, the extrinsic of the synthetic, and the extrinsic of the covered call. But we're going to focus on the extrinsic of the covered call. Because as you can see, it was $1.57 at the time I opened the position, plus or minus a few pennies. Again, it depends on the timing of the trade. And now, as of the close, as of yesterday close, it's at $1.39 extrinsic. So we already burned off. We squeezed the steak, the blood of the steak, 11.46%. So we already essentially earned 11% of that premium. That's ours. Gimme. All right. And then Monday, I'll do the same thing. And then Tuesday, and we'll see. All right. If we take 90% of, I don't know, we should probably change this to juice now or blood. But once we get to like 90%, 85, 90, 95%, it's time to move on, bro. Time to move on, time to close it, and then open a new trade, right? Does that make sense? Because again, it's all about this number here, okay? All about the number. So if we look at the intrinsic, it It went from 488 to 543. And you can see, yeah, see, our intrinsic went from 59.88 to 60, 43. So, and you can see that over here, kind of like what happened. The extrinsic actually on the leap went up in value, which was interesting, I saw. So, but again, it's plus or minus pennies. It doesn't really make a difference. So, again, this may, I don't know what you guys think of this. I know SB, obviously you understand this, Black Mamba, so do you. But like people who have never seen this type of trade, what are your thoughts, right? Parabolic, maybe Alan, you've never done this. I don't know. DD, I don't know if you've ever done something like this. Crystal Ball, any of you guys, Lynn, Wolf, what do you guys think of this? Or is this like just too much and it's not worth the time and effort? You could have had all this. Yeah. Well, my pace, SB, the stubborn mule, year behind pace or 6 month behind pace. All right. You know why? I don't want this freaking single stock exposure anymore. All right. I'm not saying I never will, but it maybe. Again, I like my indexes because I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to worry about AMD, Microsoft. I don't want to have to worry about those suckers' earnings, this, that, and the other thing, right? But open, there you go, Rod. Open a leaps. So that I could do. That I could just do. I could call it, again, I call it the hoppers. I'll just open a leap on Microsoft and leave it alone. Forget I even have it. And then let that thing earn some money, right? I mean, I could do that. God knows how much they cost, though. Way out of my depth, Wilson. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully it'll make more sense as we go, because I know, again, this took me probably about a year to grasp. I'm not kidding, because the RODY was kind of supposed to be like this, but the delta is a little harder to calculate when you have 3 freaking legs. You know what I mean? When you have just a leap, it's easier to do the delta calculation in your head, not in your head, on the spreadsheet even, and understand like what's going on. Just take it easy. UPRO, expensive. Yeah, I love UPRO, but I never got to trade it because it's always been too expensive. 2028. So what do we want? A 2028 Microsoft leap? Is that what you're saying? All right, let's see. Let me do December. All right, so we'll look at this December leap. Last one. If we go at the money, yeah, it's about like 10,800. Stock is worth what? 450. If we go in the money, what delta do we want? Even a 0.7 delta, we're looking at like almost 12K. The video looking great. Yeah, no, it takes time, man. Got several of these. Yeah, SB, I could finally speak your language now. Close to it, maybe. I get it, but it's a lot of upfront money, and I want to see how closing covered calls work. So I'm watching to see how it goes for you. Awesome. Yeah, me too. I'm learning as I go through the position. So, but I think again, I'm going to try to track it daily if I can, and I'll try to share it on X if you guys are following me. Palantir just blew up yesterday. Did they? Oh, wow. Nice. 9%. About freaking time. Palantir has been getting beat down, it seems. January 28, $500. All right, so we'll go to January 28. 500. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but look at the delta on that, 0.52. but it's cheap. Yeah, it's only $6,400. So you pay a little less, but you're only going to move, 50%, 50 cents per dollar. So I don't know. Wouldn't you want the 380? Again, that's way more expensive, double the freaking price. I don't know. It's a tough one. Double D, I prefer at the money, buy, call, sell, put. All right, so you like the old school synthetic combo. See, the problem, and Tom King talked about this on his YouTube, doing that like with like the RODY. If you don't buy the put, then that sell put is just, you need that money. Like you need all that money as collateral. So you're not getting out of that. That's the problem. So you're still fronting all that money essentially. The lower, the better. Pay 5 to 6K, no more. All right. Yeah, remind me on Monday, Black Mamba. I'll think about it. I do like a little long-term lottery ticket, although, I don't consider Microsoft a lottery ticket as much. Many of my RODYs are being blown through. Closed TNA yesterday. Yeah, TNA is the best, man. TNA is awesome. Yes. I don't know what that was yes for, but okay, good. I paid 35 on a 10 sold. Okay. That's good. We target all-time high. All right. Listen to me, he says. All right. Got a friend of mine. He's very conservative. He only likes to collect dividends. I mean, that's fine. I mean, who the hell wants to deal with this crap? Like, look at what we have to go through. I enjoy this though. Like I have fun trading options. I like to see, I honestly, I just want to learn the ins and outs of every single type of option strategy. And that's really my goal up until hopefully when I retire, because that way I can be my own income maker. I could take whatever I have in retirement, turn that into whatever income I want, how I want. And I'm doing that now. And, for my actual income, my bills, right? And it's working, but it's a lower scale, right? When I have no active income coming in, it's a different story. But hopefully by then, I'll say 55, I can grasp, was that 12 years? I don't even know how old I am anymore, but hopefully by then we're good. All right. Anyway, DD synthetic is all right. So I trade options because I love the challenge. All right. Let's move on. All right. So let's go to IWM holdings. The synthetic is actually up in value. There you go. Something's up in value, but again, it doesn't matter. This thing expires June of next year. We're going to see how it plays out. All right. We're going to see how it goes and we're going to watch it. All right, moving on. I know, I'm sorry. That took a long time to explain, and I should probably piecemeal that section out as a separate clip. That won't be a short though. Even that'll be its own video. That's actually a good idea. I'm probably gonna forget though. All right, let's talk about the VIX. I think you guys know what the heck the VIX is by now, so I'm not gonna get into that. But this week the VIX, I sold a covered call at 23. It was at 1688 at the time. Again, this didn't really do much for me. The IV was down, the VIX was, everything was down. So I only made 19 bucks. Is that worth my time? Yes, it is actually, because I'm already in house money. I made $19. Great. Woohoo! $19 is still 123% annualized based on my $800 investment, which, by the way, I already made back. I made $942. Great. Leap sell price. If the VIX goes to $22, I have to sell it and move on, because again, I'd be wasting my time trying to essentially make the same amount of money I would have made from just selling the leap, if that makes sense. So that's an addition I added there, because my time is valuable as well, of course. But although, yeah, the learning experience of trading the VIX is always even more valuable. All right, I'm still doing the wheel. I'm still doing the wheel. But, you know, to be honest, it's whatever. It's fun sometimes, and then, you know, I get into trades just like the juicy, and I'm like, you know what? Am I even doing the wheel right? You know, I don't look at the freaking deltas as much. I don't look at the extrinsic, the intrinsic. I'm probably, you know, leaving money on the table somewhere on this wheel strategy, right? But then at the same time, I'm probably, you know, this is my fun time. Like the wheel is my fun time. It's less thinking. You don't have to worry about too much. You just don't. You know, it goes down, you sell a put. It goes up, you sell a call. You know, so there's pluses and minuses. So right now, yeah, I'm still in the wheel. I had a put expiring yesterday for $13. We closed at $15.92. So that little put there, yeah, that expired worthless. So bye. And then I had a covered call at $15. That was in the money. If I left it alone, my 100 shares would be gone, girl, gone, baby girl, you're gone. All right. But I rolled it. That's right. I rolled it. I rolled it because you know why? Well, two reasons. Number one, I didn't want my shares to go yet. You ain't going that easy. Number two is I wanted to roll it up. I want to roll it up $1. I want to get another $100 in capital appreciation. And number three is I want more premium, bro. This is an income play after all. This is paying my bills. So I didn't make any money from TSLL this week except this roll. So I got 40 cents per share or $40. $40. There we go. There it is. $40. Whoopie-doo, I know. But hey, better than nothing. All right. So in the end, on the wheel, I made $40. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about high yield dividends. So as you know, I was running, you know, I'm trying to really limit my time on the option side of the house and do less strategies. I know I just added a new strategy, so it's kind of like hypocritical here, but I'm trying to put more money into high yield dividends until really I feel like I have the appropriate amount of time to sell options. By the way, we're an hour and 2 in. Sorry, again, that juicy explanation took a while, but that's why I own all these suckers here. So I own STRC, SATA, Chippy, GDXY, T-SPY, TSLL. Yes, because they pay a dividend. That's why they're here. TDAC, MLPI, KYLD, and now as of yesterday's video, SPCI, because there is a fund, a space fund that pays income thanks to Total Capital. So I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm just gonna start as, you know, small position. And I got pretty decent exposure up in her. All right. So anyway, Chippy paid me 20, GDXY 15, KYLD about 3. So I only made $38 from the high yielders for this week. Weekly income total. Here we go. Drums, please. We add up. Options premium, $557. High yield income, $38. I made $595. My goal was $400 because, again, I need to make $2,000 a month to pay the bills. I had 5 Fridays this month, so it came up to $400. I actually had a surplus this month of $230. Good, great, wonderful. It did not start off that way. It was a little slow, but now we're kind of getting back on track, smooth sailing, because, again, I don't have that much money in this account, and it's cutting it close. I was getting to the point where I was almost about to add money if needed, but I don't have to at this moment. All right, so here's a cleaner breakdown if you would like to see. I'll zoom out for you guys. Open, I made 12, SOFI 30, NVDL 280, VIX 19, IWM 157. Remember, this is only extrinsic income. All these others, I didn't do that. I didn't break it out, right? This is extrinsic. All right, IBIT 19, TSLL 40, high yield dividends 38. Week ending income 595.52. Awesome. Great week. Here's just the as-at values. It doesn't really matter, but overall, yeah, I'm at house money on the VIX. I'm not really close. Well, I'm getting close on open, actually. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to get into this. We already spent too much time on other crap today. I'm just going to go right to the balance part to show you the change in balance this week. again, you have to always keep in mind this is a bill pay account. There's money coming out of the account almost all the time for bills. I have several bills that come out of this account totaling $2,000 per month. But week over week, we did go up 2.52% in total balance. My cash value, though, went from 14 to 7 because why? Well, you saw the leap cost about $7,000. Options pending went a little down, which is fine. That's good. Actual cash, you could see actual cash versus option. We're in the negative. So we are actually in the margin. We are using margin. However, we're using margin only with pending options. So it's not actually going to charge me interest. Let's see. Yeah, margin available, 15,000, which is about 30% of the balance. Not much, not much. A yield required, if I need to make $2,000 based on a $50,000 balance, I would have to yield 47% on an annualized basis. Okay. That's it. That is it. I am exhausted. Now I have to go coach a baseball team to win the second round of the playoffs and go to the championship. But maybe I'll teach them about, juicy and the deep in the money covered calls. Maybe they'll care. All right, let's see. Wolf, I like doing options, but I'm a more conservative player. I don't make as much money, though. I mean, you can make as much as you wanted, right? It all depends on, how much risk. I'm learning too, and that's all it's all about, Kevin, having fun. Synthetic long combo, then sell put spreads for uncapped upside. Okay. Extrinsic, yes. Took me a year, SB, but I'm on the same page as you, I think. All right. I won't regret it. Sweet. Hey, if it dips again, it actually, I guess I got lucky because it did pretty good yesterday. I don't know why, but whatever, I'll take it. All right, but buy NVIDIA, they increased dividend, great play. Oh, wow, they increased their penny dividend. What did they increase it to? 2 cents. That's a 100% increase. No, I don't know. What did they increase it to? All right. All right. 25 cents. All right. So that's a decent increase. So they're now officially, I didn't consider them a dividend payer on a penny, but what's the yield at 25 cents though? That ain't crap. They'll do what Apple did though, It'll get there. It'll get there, I'm sure. It's evolving, yes. All right. Any other questions on? I know this is a lot. My head spinning. I'm just drinking coffee now. Penny to a quarter. Yeah, hell of an increase, man. Hell of an increase. What is that? 2,500%? I don't know. Whatever. Yes, I only need to make 5% off my investments, and I can pay bills. So funds are paying 20%. My option plays make a little more. Oh, if you only need 5%, oh man, you're set. You're set for life. For life. I need to make 47%. So imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah, I'm with you. But Black Mamba, I got freaking my 401k with my, my jail money there on my predetermined index funds, which of course, I don't get to choose. They give me the limited options. What do you think's in there? Of course, NVIDIA is in there. So I have so much exposure to the, the large cap stocks already. So, I'm still getting a piece of the pie here. In the money. Let's do this, SB. We're going to do this now. We're going to convert the Discord to Juicy. Yeah, I did jump in. Even though I said I wasn't going to do individual tickers anymore, I did it. I did it. But yeah, hopefully it works out. so far, you know, I always wanted to be an NVD. I always wanted to trade NVDL. I traded NVDX before, but NVDL, I mean, let's face it, their options chain liquid as all hell. You could trade anything in there. Yeah, the light bulb is off. No, I know, but again, that's my growth exposure. All right, my 401k gel money is my growth exposure. Okay, I'm stuck in lift, $400 down. All right, lift. All right. Anyway, we are an hour and 10 minutes in. We scan for the best play at the moment to exact. Okay. Yeah, if you're a stock picker, I ain't no stock picker. All right, you need to make 40% with the money you have exposed, but you're counting all of your accounts because mine is 5% based. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I can't count my gel money. I'm just counting the money in my taxable. Weekly, the best, or monthly? Is that a question? Weekly what? Covered calls? Is weekly covered calls better than monthly? If that's the question, yes. In my opinion, yes. I think you can make more money doing weekly breakdown covered calls versus monthly. How much more money? I don't know. You may screw yourself with the timing in the end, but it all depends. All right. Are we good now? Any more questions, or should we just wrap this crap up and get moving with our day? I'll leave this up like this. There you go. It almost fits. What's the font? 25. All right, 23. There you go. Now it fits. Boom. IVM is good. You can hold. You mean IWM? Friday's the only time I could trade. You'll have a certain. Yeah. No, me too, Kevin. Same. That's why I'm doing these type of trades. I really Monday through Thursday. I mean, especially this week, there was no chance of anything. So I am with you on that. So I do all my rolls, all my open positions, typically on the Friday. Time equals risk. Well, time is good. As time goes on, it's good for our extrinsic as we earn more of it. I don't even know what the heck you're saying here. Is it not better to do what the heck? Can someone convert that? Wooly Bully, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope some of this made sense. If not, we'll do it again. Don't worry. I do most of my writing. Oh, Wolf is a writer. He's going to write a book, and we're going to buy it. All right. I think I'm done yapping for the day. As always, ladies and gentlemen, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And this video, of course, was for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, then whatever. Who cares? Move on and go sing somewhere else. All right. But no, for real, I got nothing else. We can play the other RODY song, and then we'll think of a keyword, and then we'll wrap this crap up so we can talk in the chat for a little longer and wrap it up. We'll get a song going so we could finish our coffee and then party it up for the weekend. All right, so where's the other song? Here it is.
Meet Rod, more bang for the buck. Wall Street suits, your time is up. Meet Rowdy, more bang for the buck. Meet Rod, more bang for the buck. Wall Street suits, your time is up. Stack that premium, protect my six. Upside open, but I hedge that risk. Garage born plan, average Joe, taking a stand. Roddy's the method, RD is the man, RD is the man. Yeah, didn't wait wait on permission. I picked up the weight, phone in my hand, early hours, learning to take a rise toward patience. No room for excuses. Every choice mattered cause the outcome it uses. I stopped handing the wheel, the voices I trusted, took responsibility. That's when it functioned. If it worked, that was earned. If it failed, that was mine. Family in my vision, so I stayed on the grind. This wasn't about hustle or flexing the grind. It was structure and rules I could run every time. RODY came from effort with discipline attached. Built for the people who carry the weight, So meet RODY. More bang for the buck. Wall Street suits, your time is up. Stack that premium, protect my six. Upside open, but I hedge that risk. Garage born playing, average Joe taking a stand. All D is the method. All D is the man. All D is the man. I don't chase green candles, I monetize waiting. Data working daily while they guessing and praying. Premium stacking, structure over sensation. Volatility paying rent with no conversation. Wrist boxed and tight before the play even starts. Calm under pressure, John Wick with the plan. They argue direction, I structure the trade. Let volatility work while emotion gets played. Fast money flashy, but it fades when it's pressed. I want repeatable wins with my downside dress. Not a lottery ticket, this a blueprint I trust. Level the field,
Get more bang for the buck.
meet RODY. More bang for the buck. Wall Street suits, if your time is up. Stack that premium, protect my six. Upside open, but I hedge that risk. My eyes born playing, average Joe taking a stand. RODY's the method, RODY's the man. RODY's the man, is the man. Family to your head. I don't need hype, I don't need a crowd. Just rules I respect when the pressure gets loud. This ain't for everyone, that's part of the design. RODY rewards the ones who take responsibility every time. RODY, RODY the method. RODY, the people, the people, RODY, RODY. If you want it, carry the weight. Meet RODY. Ooh. Yeah. Good morning, friends. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Built, not sold, yeah, intentionally. No hype talk, just clarity. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Mid-40s, married man, house stay loud. Raising up boys, turning boys into men. New puppy running, chaos around. Still clocking in, but he plotting the end. Giants fan scars, yeah, he wear that pain. Smiles through the losses like part of the game. Never throw shots, never talks that mess. Yeah, builds people up, less results address. Yeah, streams every day, never missing a beat. YouTube live X when the mic get heat. Not selling dreams, just showing the math. Wins and drawdowns, full on his past. Spreadsheet brain with a streetwise frame. Plays of discipline, never chasing fame. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Yeah. Options on screen, risk handle precise. Structures built calm, every move got a price. Cover calls roll, protection in place. Time on his side, patience setting the pace. They say slow down, he say stay exact. Same palm tone when the market snap. Runs through mud just to test that will. Same mindset when the chalk goes still. Sings on the post, crowd laugh, he grin. Go dig a hook, but the lesson still win. Movie quotes fly, wrestling frame. Serious work, but he keep it light, man. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. If you want that life, say freedom with me. This was for fun and entertainment purposes. I hope you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, you gotta say the keyword. You have to say the baby. Keyword today is juicy. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. All right, anyway, I'm done yapping for the day. If you made it this far, you got to type in the comments down below, JUCY, juicy, our new trade. We're going to have fun with this one. We're going to freaking squeeze the freaking crap out of this extrinsic, earn it all, party it up, spend it all, and then do it again, week in, week out. All right. Anyway, come back next week. We'll see the results of the trade. Hopefully it worked out. Hopefully we didn't get our asses kicked, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Later.